Ja Morant. Ja freaking Morant. What were you thinking, man? Alright, I am Dustin Tran, your host. This is Sports Guy Talking that you guys are listening and watching to, as I am joined by guest Cincere Koonce today to debate about Ja Morant. Once again, Ja Morant has surrounded himself with controversy. Now it has gotten so bad to the point where the Grizzlies are suspending Ja Morant indefinitely. Before I say anything else though, I want to present you guys with the topic question. So, here it is. What are your thoughts on Ja Morant's latest troubles?
It's just the mentality that he has. It's a dumb mentality. Why would you risk $39 million just to pretend you're gangster or whatever? Even if you were in that type of environment and you got out of there, you're hustling backwards. Like, why would you go back and risk yourself money?
Agreed, man. Agreed. Let me go ahead and start off with this saying. I got a lot to say about this Ja Morant thing. So I got this little saying about money. Here it is. So money doesn't change you, but it reveals who you are when you no longer have to be nice. And that's exactly what Ja Morant was doing, because we didn't hear none of this stuff about Ja Morant when he was a rookie. We didn't hear about this coming out of high school. We didn't hear about him about this way growing up. We didn't hear him about this when he was in college. No, we're only hearing about this now that he got his money, now that he's known as an elite point guard. And I made a video a few weeks ago about the faces of the NBA. I was talking about how the NBA, they lack faces, and there was an omission that I had in there. I did not mention Ja Morant. I did not forget about him. There was a reason why I left his name out, and I left his name out because of the fact that he is a troubled guy. And Ja Morant, he's trying to be a hustler, he's trying to gain street cred, but actually what he is doing is losing bank cred, because that's exactly what he's doing. That's just the reality of the situation. And when you look at Ja Morant, it's entirely unacceptable what he did. To go on Instagram Live and flash a gun after you're in the middle of an investigation about flashing a gun at a teenager? Who do you think you are, man? You trying to lose your career, man? Because that's exactly what you gotta do. And if I'm a friend of Ja Morant, if I'm anywhere in Ja Morant's circle, someone has got to get in his head and got to say, hey man, you worked so hard to get to the top of your game. Don't blow it now. That's what I gotta say about Ja Morant. The floor is yours.
Yeah, I agree with you. And he's on the road of possibly making himself get out of the league. But the thing is, he's young. He just needs guidance on how to move. I appreciate the apology that he put out to the team and his family. He's actually taking the initiative to get the help that he needs. So he's on the right path now. But before, it was just news to us. Like, we never thought he'll do anything like that. It just came out of nowhere.
Yeah, and what Ja Morant has done, man, it's kind of crazy how far he's fallen off. When you look at Ja Morant, first thing you look at him, you think, oh, what a lovable guy he is. You know, he's got two parents. He's been a marketable player for the Memphis Grizzlies, a small market NBA team, a team that hasn't really had a lot of star power, and he's been able to provide that. And he seems to be overall just a good, nice dude. At least that's what you think, until you've seen his entourage of friends. And his entourage of friends have not done a good job advertising or telling him what he should do, because clearly if they were doing a good job doing it, then they wouldn't be acting gangster. Ja Morant is trying to act like some dude from the ghetto, and he's trying to live that thug life. And what I gotta say is, why? You didn't grow up the thug life. You didn't grow up that way when you was in elementary school. You didn't grow up that way when you were in middle school. You didn't grow that way when you were in high school. You didn't grow up that way in college. Why are you showing out now? Why? And I think it's because of the fact that he is trying to live up to that $200 million contract that he has in his hands right now, and he's trying to portray himself an image. He is trying so hard right now to be Allen Iverson. And what I got to say about that is, if you're trying to be Allen Iverson, you better be careful with your steps, because that kind of life, it's really dangerous out there, and you're not going to last very long at it. You're going to have a lot of highs, and you're going to have a lot of really lows, and when you have to deal with the really lows, that's going to be really problematic for you. And to flash that gun on Instagram Live, he's got to ask himself, why did he do that? What does he gain from that? If it was just a regular Joe that did that on Instagram Live, it is still bad. But you're Ja Morant. You really thought you could go on Instagram Live, flash a gun, and no one was going to notice? No one was going to notice. Is that what you really thought, Ja? Because if you thought that, you were widely mistaken. And here's my problem with Ja Morant too. He's been talking all this trash all year long. He's acting like he's the best player in the world. He's been acting like he's Michael Jordan out here. And he's been a good player, yes, but he hasn't been this all-time great player. He's been walking around the court. He's been going to press conferences. He's been acting like, oh man, I'm the best ever. I'm going to go ahead, brag about it. I'm going to be in your face. I'm going to talk about how I'm better than this guy. I'm better than that guy. And it's just the whole aura. And that's why guys like Shannon Sharp, they had a huge problem with it. He had a problem with that entourage entourage, and some of those people, including myself, were wondering, why did he have that outburst at the Lakers game not too long ago? And now I'm starting to get. Now I get why Shannon Sharpe had a problem with him. It's because Ja Morant's entourage is trying to start everything. Every problem they're trying to create, they always try to start up everything. And when you do that, that's not going to have a pretty result.
Okay, yeah, and I'm glad you acknowledged that he's not even close to being the best in the league. He's not Steph Curry. He's not Jason Tatum. He's not this top 10 player. He has a few years to go. But besides all the basketball stuff, the off-the-court stuff, it's just based on influence. It's based around a crowd that he's around. And usually when you're around peer pressure, you usually do stuff that you don't usually do. So it's just a young mind state, and he just needs to work that out. That's all.
Yeah, and hopefully he can go ahead and get it fixed, because right now it's not too late for Ja Morant. But if he doesn't get it fixed right now, it will be too late. You look at guys like Allen Iverson, how his gangster style kind of basically fell out of style, and that's why he was out of the NBA, or at least one of the reasons why he was out of the NBA at a younger age than what he should have. You also look at the fact how Michael Vick in the NFL went gangster mode. Look at where that got him. That caused him to lose hundreds of millions of dollars. So when you look at it from that perspective, what Ja Morant is doing, he's making a lot of poor choices. And you've got to look at what's been happening in the past month. You've got to remember, about a month ago, February 5th, just to be exact, okay, it's basically reported that several Pacers staffers, this was a Grizzlies and Pacers game, it felt like they were in grave danger after acquaintances of Grizzlies star Ja Morant aggressively confronted members of the Pacers traveling party near the team's bus in the loading area of FedEx Forum, and later someone in a slow-moving SUV, which Morant was riding in, trained a red laser on them. So that's what was basically reported. NBA's looking to the situation. Now, I know they am clearing it, but let's be honest, when you're a superstar player, the NBA, they're going to make sure that they're going to look the other way and make sure that their stars can get on the court, because ultimately it's a star-driven league and they need to get their stars on the court. Obviously, that should have been red flag number one. I mean, what are you doing that for? That's entirely uncalled for. Then you look at the investigation that they started up last week about the fact that Ja Morant beat up a teenager. This is not even an adult that he's beating up. Why are you beating up underage people during a pickup game? What are you doing, man? What are you doing? That is entirely unacceptable. Ja Morant, what he's been doing right now, he's been making a series of bad choices, and he's on the verge of losing his mind, and Ja Morant is about to lose it all. And the fact that the Memphis Grizzlies, when they gave him a 2-game suspension, now they're making it indefinite, I think it's absolutely the right thing to do. They've got to send him away. They've got to get him help, because this is not going to end very well if they let Ja Morant keep being Ja Morant. Now you guys see what's going to happen when you let your star players go way too far with this. I mean, look, it's one thing to be trash talking on the court, but when you're taking that stuff off the court, you're taking it up another level. Can't do that. Cannot tolerate it. Cannot accept it.
Agreed. I feel like once he gets the help he needs, he'll realize that he needs to move different. He needs to possibly be around a different crowd, because separating yourself from the wrong crowd, that's what helps it the most. But if you keep hanging around the same people, you're just going to keep falling behind them, and it's going to cost you, like, straight up.
Yeah, and you can ask Antonio Brown about that, because you look at Antonio Brown, he was once a good guy, but he ended up going crazy and going nuts, and he ended up losing his NFL career because of it, because his entourage of friends weren't helping him. Ja Morant's friends, if they were real friends of his, they would help him out and would tell, hey Ja, you don't need to do that. Chill out. Let's just go to a club and let's just enjoy ourselves. Let's try to keep it low profile. Don't try to show yourself out too much. That's just the reality of the situation. Ja Morant, get the help you need. I like that you apologize, but you've got to do more than that. You've got to take some additional steps forward, and you've got to keep yourself out of the limelight, because right now, getting yourself in the limelight is what's getting you into trouble. That's why almost everybody seems to be having a problem with Ja Morant right now. That's what I've got to say about this matter. What are your final thoughts on this?
Besides the fact that I don't like his cockiness on the court, off the court, he's human. We all make mistakes as young people. So I just hope that he moves different, and I hope that he'll be able to play in this playoffs this year once he straightens up.
I mean, we'll see what happens. We'll see for sure, but it should be interesting to see. This is certainly a different type of drama that the NBA is now experiencing, because there's always drama around the star players, yes, but usually it's because of something that they're skipping on the court, because something in their head's not right. But in this case with Ja Morant, it's something that he's doing off the court that's borderline criminal behavior, if not straight up criminal behavior. I mean, it is what it is with Ja Morant, but let's see what happens. All right, well, thanks for being on the show, Sincere. Appreciate you coming on here. All right, make sure you follow his Instagram at Cincere.Koonce. Again, thanks for being on the show, man.
Hey, no problem. Anytime.
All right, man. See ya, bro.
See you.
Yup. Bye. that was Cincere Koonce that you guys just heard. So he's going to take the position that Ja Morant, he can get this fixed eventually, right? But what he did was bad. I'm going to go ahead and agree with him. What he did was egregiously awful, and what he did was honestly beyond stupid and very idiotic and very immaturish and very childish. What he did was not right. He's trying to be a hustle guy, but he's trying to hustle backwards, because that's what he's ended up doing. Like I said, he was trying to gain street cred, but instead he's on the verge of losing bank cred. That's just the reality of the situation. Ja, he's got to get his priorities straight, because if he doesn't, then someone else is going to get the priorities straight for Ja Morant, and we're not going to get the ending that we like for Ja Morant. So that is why what Ja Morant did was beyond stupid on so many levels. Remember, go ahead and subscribe to Sports Guy Talking, like the video, and please comment down below. If you guys do that, I may shout you guys out in my Instagram story every Monday. That will be for the @DustinTran Instagram account. Make sure to follow me on Instagram @DustinTran and @SportsGuyTalking. Also, go follow me on Twitter @DustinTran. Again, go ahead and do those things that I just told you guys to go do. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the content that was just produced. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed that video. Want more Sports Guy Talking, the home of great sports content? Make sure you click that subscribe button to get the latest from Sports Guy Talking. Go ahead and like the video, comment down below, check the description box on the video in order to follow my Instagram and Twitter. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from the YouTube channel Sports Guy Talking.